Hi Pep Stars, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be looking at part 2, which are the quantitative reasoning type questions from number 21 to 40 of the 2025 ability test paper. I want to put a disclaimer out there. I didn't do it for the first video, but I want to do it now, and I talked more about it in this video to say that when we do these review, it's not so much, well, I when I do these review, it's not so much for you to see how much you got, but just to see how the question should have been approached, right? We don't want students to be feeling agitated or just calculating how much they got to say, hey, I got this out of 40. It's just to see how you should approach a question. And then going forward, if you see questions similar to these, because you might have similar worded problem on your performance task, to know how to approach these questions, and even on the curriculum based type questions examination. So it's just for that purpose, right? So don't be technically calculating every single thing that you got, right? And in the event that you still didn't feel as though you did as much as you could have done, you still have two more examination that you can maximize the marks on. All right. So I'm going to start the review of the second half of the ability test paper. All right, so here's part 2 of the 2025 ability test paper. Let's get right into it. Examine the rule below. Use it to answer item 21. Each number in the second and third row is the product of the two numbers just below it. That's the rule. Which of the following combination did not apply to this rule? So here we can see 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 1, 4. 6 times 1, 6. So that applies. 4 times 3, 12. 3 times 1, 3. 12 times 3, 36. That applies. 5 times 2, 10. 2 times 4, 8. And 10 times 8, 80. That also applies. 5 times 3 is not 8. And 3 times 2 is not 5. And neither is 8 times 5, 13. So the correct answer is D. Next question. Examine a portion of the 100 chart below. Use it to answer item 22. Which number replaces the omega sign in the 100 chart? So based on the pattern here, we can see that all of the numbers start with 4, 34, 44, 54, 64, and it ends with 8, 38, 48, 58, 68. So 31, 30, 34, sorry, 35, 36, 37, 38, 34, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So here would be 48, but just let's check if the pattern is correct. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. So therefore, the number which replaces the symbol is 48. Next question. Examine the pattern below. A relationship exists between the number of diamonds and the number of leaves. Use it to answer item 23. Let's look at the pattern. Diamond 2, leaf 6. Diamond 3, leaf 8. Diamond 4, leaf 10. Diamond 5, leaf 12. Let's see what's the pattern. Which of the following could represent the pattern given in the table? And we see that the correct pattern is the diamond plus the diamond plus 2 equal the leaf. And let's check our answer. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. 3 plus 3 plus 2 equals 8. 4 plus 4 plus 2 equals 10. And 5 plus 5 plus 2 equals 12. Next question. The beads on the counting frame counting frame shown below represents the number 6,219. Use this information to answer item 24. Which digit in the number has the smallest value, and the digit in the number that has the smallest value is 9? Because it is in the ones place. The table below shows Sarah's 3 tries to unlock a device using a 3-digit passcode. For each try, the table shows the number of digits that were correct and the number of digits that were in the correct position. Use the table to answer item 25. Here are the tries: first, second, third, and the passcode. 321 436 526, and the number of correct digits 2 4 2 2. Both, all of them have 2 correct digits, and the number of digits in the correct place for first passcode is 2, for the second passcode is 1, and for the third passcode is 2. Let's look at the table a bit closer to find out which of the following passcode could unlock the device. So for the first one, there are 2 correct digits and 2 of them are in the correct position. For the second one, there's only 1 digit in the correct position, but there's 2 correct digits. And then for the third code, there are 2 correct digits and 2 of them are in the correct place. So when we look at the code, we can see that based on 1 and 2 tries, we can see that 2 numbers were in the correct place. So we can automatically say that 2 was in the correct place because it was there for both of the tries. And we can say that also here, where one of them was in the correct place, we can say that 6 could be the number that's in the correct place. And the 3 here was the correct digit, just like in number 3. The 3 tries, one of these digits was incorrect, so we can assume that the incorrect digit here was 5 and it's supposed to be replaced with the 3. Here 3 was a correct digit, but it was in the wrong place, so we can assume that it should have been first. And 6 is a correct digit, but it is the only one in the correct place. So therefore we can derive that 326 is the correct code to unlock the device. Examine the weight of 4 objects below. Use it to answer item 26. Let's look at the objects. Object E, F, G, and H. The one that is the lightest is G because 4 kilograms is the heaviest, and then we have 2 kilograms, which is the second heaviest, and then we know that, so we know grams are lighter than kilograms, so therefore that's why we started with the kilogram. And then for the grams, now we know that 150 is greater than 142, and therefore G would be the correct answer because it's the least at 142 grams. Let's examine the fractions in the diagram below and use them to answer item 27, sorry. Alright, let me just put that X. Why this is not the correct answer? Because half is not more than 2/3. If we look here in the diagram, we see 1/3 here, 1/3 plus 1/3, that's 2/3. So here would be 2/3. And clearly we can see that 2/3 is not more than a half, because here is a half. So therefore that would be incorrect. 2/3 is more than 4/6. That is also not correct. Here's 4/6. 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. And this is 4/6 here. That looks the same as 2/3. And if we were to simplify 4/6, we'd also get by the same 2/3. 2 into 4, 2 times 2 into 6, 3 times. So they're actually the same, and you can see it here that they're actually on the same level. And now let's look at 2/6 is less than a quarter. And here's 2/6. And you can see that 2/6 is greater than a quarter because the quarter stops here. So 2/6 is greater than the quarter. So that's also not the correct answer. But students have been telling you from before that the ministry is not trying to make these papers as easy, and the answers are not going to jump out, especially when you don't know the concept. So here, some of us, I'm going to erase this part just to show you. Some of us might not know that a whole number is any number over itself. So once the numerator is the same as the denominator, this is a whole number. 9/9 is a whole. 3/3 is a whole. And here's the demonstration. If I was to shade one part of the 3, that would have been 1/3. If I shade another part, this would be 2/3. And if I shade another part, this would be 3/3. And therefore, that's a whole, right? Because this is a whole of a diagram that is shaded, right? Now, if we don't know that, then we won't know that 2/2 is a whole. We might just look at it and say that, oh, this 4 is bigger than the 2, so therefore this cannot be less than, right? But it is less than, because if we were to reduce it, 1, 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 gives you 1, and 2 into 4 gives you 2, and therefore a half. So we can clearly see now that a half is less than 1. And we can just look back at the diagram and verify that this is a half here, and this would be a total whole, and therefore the half is less than the whole. So that's the correct answer. Let's look at the next question. Examine the information given for 4 cards S, T, U, and V. Each card has one of the 4 numbers on it: 3, 8, 10, or 12, and you should use it to answer item 28. So let's look at the cards now. The number on card T is an even number, and this can be 10. It can also be 8 or 12, but I just chose 10 because I'm also looking at the option to say the number on card S is divisible by both 2 and 4, and therefore it can be 8 or 12. And then the number on card U is a multiple of 4, which is also either 8 or 12. So therefore the number on card V must be 3, because all of the other numbers are already used up. So even if I was supposed to use 8 for here and 12 for here, I still wouldn't have anywhere to put 3. So the answer is 3. Alright, examine the 2 balance scale below and use them to answer item 29. So when we look at the scale, we can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue blocks here. And we have 1 cylinder and 1 red cube. And here, 2 of the red cubes equal 1 cylinder. So we can look at this pattern and see that if we were to have 2 of the cubes, because technically here is 3 cubes, because remember one cylinder represents 3 cubes. So this one cylinder would represent 3 cubes, right? Sorry, this one cylinder would represent 2 cubes, so therefore it's 3 cubes here. And if we have 3 cubes, these 3 cubes can go into the 6 blocks 2 times. So therefore we can say that 2 of these blocks represents only 1 cube. Are we seeing that? So if 2 of these blocks represent 1 cube, another 2 blocks represent another cube, and another 2 blocks represent another cube, which would have been the 3 cubes. Alright, examine the number line below. Use it to answer item 30. Which letter represents the number 3,582 on the number line? Let's count. 3,579, 78, 3,579, 80, 81, 3,081, 3,000, 3,581, 3,582. So it looks like this, but let's just check. 3,583, 3,584. I'm just going to continue saying 85, 86, 87, 88, and 89. Going to leave the 3,500 off. It's causing a mishap. So the correct answer is N. Oh boy. All right, so you can see the idea. Then we have 10 more questions to go. Well, 9. So that was we started the final 10 questions just now. So we have 9 questions left to go. The diagram below shows a toy truck pulled for a distance of 150 centimeters. Diagram S shows the truck being pulled by a weight of 3 marbles in a bucket. Diagram T shows the truck being pulled by the weight of 2 marbles in a bucket. In each diagram, each marble weighs the same amount, and the toy truck was pulled for 150 centimeters. Use the information on the diagram to answer item 31. So we here see diagram S, and here's the start, and then we see the truck here at the end, and we see the string and the buckets with the 3 marbles pulling the toy truck, and we see the distance to be 150 centimeters. And now we know that it took 8 seconds for the 3 marbles to travel the 150 centimeters. And the diagram is here is the same, except that there are 2 marbles in the bucket, and it took 15 seconds for the 2 marbles to travel the 150 centimeters. So the question asks, if the bucket now has 1 marble, how long will it take for the truck to travel the same 150 centimeters? And we can say this is more than 15 seconds, because if it took 15 seconds for the bucket with 2 marbles, then it's going to take more than 15 seconds for our bucket with 1 marble. All right, moving on to the next question. Read the statements and examine the diagram given below about the top speed of a type of bird, a type of car, and a single engine plane. Use it to answer item 32. So the bird is 75 kilometers per hour faster than the car, and the single engine plane is 75 kilometers per hour slower than the car. So here is the diagram that represents the information above. So which of the following could represent the likely top speed of the bird and the single engine plane? And I did the working out here. So if this was the bird at 200, remember the car is 75 less, and 75 less than 200 is 125, and 75 from 125 is 50, right? So that's not going to be the correct answer because here is 75. All right, let's look at B now. If the bird is 50 kilometers per hour, take away 75 from 450. If the bird is 450 kilometers per hour, and we take away 75 from 450, we're at 375 for the car. And then we take away 75 from the car, that gives us 300. This looks like the answer, but let's check on the others. And this is 225. If we take away 75 from 225, it's 150, which is the car. And 75 from 150 is 75, which would be the plane. And here's 150 kilometers per hour, so that's not correct. And this one is the same, so this clearly couldn't be the answer. So I'm not even going to make an attempt there, right? So therefore, we can see that the correct answer is B. I hope we're all following and understanding. And we're just going through this paper, not even so much for you to just check how much you got, and for even students who feel as though they didn't do as well to feel discouraged, because I was very sensitive with this paper. I got the paper very early, but I was having dialogue with even some other teachers, and in the first video you heard me say that I didn't like how the ministry kind of structured this paper. I would have hoped that it would have been a little less challenging. We know that we have a myriad of exams to do, and just to give us more of what we are accustomed to. These questions, I've not seen anything like these before in the previous examination, so we kind of didn't have anything to work from. And I speak also as a teacher who is preparing other students, to say that we didn't get to do as much of these questions because we've never seen anything like them. So the minute I saw the paper, again, we discussed it amongst ourselves as teachers to say that we think the exam could be less challenging. And also, I thought to say that for the next set of students that I prepare, I will have to definitely have some of these types of questions in my question bank, so students can have an example of what these questions look like, because we wouldn't have seen anything like these before, and we saw a lot of diagrams that we didn't see much of before. So again, it's just to get you into the mind frame that the next examination we have to be very sharp, and we have to think outside of the box, because the ministry might just bring something that we've never seen before, and therefore we have to just mentally be prepared to take on these questions. All right, but it's not for you to say that, oh, I didn't do as well. I'm very sensitive about that. And don't worry about if you don't feel as if you got enough marks. You still have the other examinations to pivot and maximize on those marks. All right. So this examination is gone and we can't do much about it. It's just to go through to see what could have been done, and in the event that you're seeing anything like this in any other examination, then you know how to approach the questions. All right, let's move on to the next question. It said, look at the picture graph and use it to answer item 33 and 32. And we see the picture graph showing the modes of transportation and the number of students who prefer these modes of transportation. So it says, which mode of transportation was least preferred? And we can see walking because it has the least number of stars. Which student, which the number of students who, take the bus is 12 more than the number of students who walk. Which number does the star represent? And let's see. And we saw 4 to be the answer because we can say that 4 plus 4 equal 8. And then for the bus now, which was the transportation that was most preferred, we can say 4 plus 4, 8 plus 4, 12 plus 4, 16, and 4, 20. And we can subtract 8 from 20 and we'll get 12. And therefore 4 would be the correct answer. All right, next question. Examine the graph below and the information given in the box about the favorite sports of grade 6 students. Each bar represents one of the 4 sports: cricket, football, tennis, and netball. Use the information provided in the graph and in the box below the graph to answer item 35 to 37. And here are the favorite sports. I went ahead based on the information here to say 2 times as many students chose cricket as they did netball. So here's netball at 5, and 2 times 5 is 10, which is cricket. And 5 more students chose football than cricket. And if cricket is 10, football is 15. And 10 more students chose tennis than football. Football is 15, and therefore tennis is 25. How many students chose the second most popular sports? The second most popular sports was 15. And which sports is liked by 10 students? And we identified that before to be cricket. And which sports was liked by a little more than a quarter of the 55 students? So we know half of 55. So we can say 55 divided by 2. And 55 divided by 2, this will give us a half, is 27.5. And then we now have to further divide 27.5 by 2. And 27 divided by 2, 27.5 divided by 2 is 17. So we're cutting the 10 into a half, which is cutting the 20 into a half, which is 10. And we're cutting the 7.5 into a half. So that's 3.5 plus 2.5. That's 3.75. 3.75. So therefore, we need to now try to find Which one was a little more than a quarter? Why erase this? And that would be football, because football was 15. Alright, let's move on to 38. For item 38, there is a question followed by two statements. Read the statements carefully to see if they provide enough information to help you with your answer. So the question, it says, how many passengers are now on the bus? And we have statement 1 saying the bus made 2 stops, and statement 2 saying at the first stop 12 person got on the bus. Now both statements are not enough to answer the question because we don't even know how many persons were on the bus in the first place. So we can't know how many persons are currently on the bus. All right, let's look at number 39. We're almost to the end. Examine the balance scale and use it to answer item 39. So 1 apple is equal to 2 balls. Wouldn't be A because we have 1 apple here and we have more apples than ball over this side. And we have 1 apple here and there's many balls here. And we also have balls over this side. Can be C because we can say that if we add on 1 more apple, we can add on another 1 ball. And here we don't have enough balls, so the answer is C. Now we're on to our final question. It says, examine the mathematical sentence below. There are 4 shapes. Each shape represents its own unique number. Use the mathematical sentence and this information to answer item 14. So the diamond plus the circle is 10. So we can assume that both of these shapes are valued less than 10. And the circle and the square is 20. So we can assume that this square is more than 10. And the square and the triangle is 30. So again, if this is more than 10, we can say that the triangle here is greater than 10, but less than 20, or between thereabouts. We're just assuming at the moment. But then we know that the diamond here from at the top was less than 10. So if it's less than 10, the triangle might be more than 10 to get to the 20, right? All right, it indicates that the triangle is more than 10 to get to 20. So let's look at the answers now. Which of the following is true about the triangle? Is it more than 20? It's not going to be more than 20 because here it would give a greater value than 20. Equal to 20. Then if this has a value and it's equal to 20, it cannot be 20 because it would have been a value greater than 20. So we can assume that it's between 10 and 20. But here's why it could not be 1 and between 1 and 10. And we spoke about it, but I'm just going to reiterate. When we see here where both of these values would give 20, right? And we saw up here that the circle was less than 10. Yes? So if it's less than 10 for the circle and the triangle here, sorry, the square here would be whatever number it is would add up to give you 20. Both of these values here, for it to add up to give you 30, then it means that this triangle here would have to be greater than 10. So therefore, between 10 to 20 is correct. And there you have it, students. That's the 2025 paper. Again, please don't just go through and say, oh, I got this out of 40 or I got this out of 40. It's just to see where my mind frame should be. How broad should I be thinking? Should I be doing more reasoning? Because as I said, these examination, the inception of PEP is to have students thinking and reasoning more. All right. So the next video is going to be our performance task prep. So I look forward to see you in that video. So thank you for watching the full review of the 2025 ability test paper. And now we're in full swing for the performance task preparation. I'll be posting the videos for the 2025 prep. But in the meantime, I want you to go and check out the performance task playlist. And even if it's a grade 4 performance task, it still has the same main elements for grade 6 students. So you can watch all of those. I would have done all the past papers for grade 6, so you can go ahead and watch those videos. And as I said, stay tuned to the channel to see what I upload for the new sets of performance task prep, right? And I look forward to seeing you in all of those videos where we learn and better prepare ourselves to become highly proficient. So until next time, Pep Stars, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can see when each video is posted. And again, share. Each person can share with a friend, because if we have information that we know it serves as it's good for us, but it doesn't serve its entire purpose when we don't share it with others as well, right? So I'll see you in the next video.